The iron door slammed shut. The clang echoed through the cold hallway. Inside the cramped cell, a man stood silently. No proper bed. No freedom.
No certainty of when this suffering would end. Outside, the world kept moving. His children grew up without him. His wife waited without an answer. Years passed. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years.
Nearly 3 decades of his life were taken away. Many would have given up. Many would have hated. But this man chose a different path, and that decision ultimately changed the course of history.
That man was Nelson Mandela, a political prisoner, a fighter, a father who missed out on many precious moments in his family's life, and later, a president. But Mandela's story is not one of easy triumph.
It's not a story of someone born into power. It's a story of poverty, of discrimination, of loss, of loneliness that never truly goes away, and of the price one must pay when one chooses to fight for justice.
Because sometimes, to change the world, one must lose almost everything.
Nelson Mandela was born in 1918, in a small village in South Africa, far from luxury, far from the centers of power. His childhood was simple. He grew up in a rural environment, running in the fields, herding cattle, living a quiet life.
But that tranquility was only on the surface. Beneath it, his country was divided. Skin color determined one's future, determined what rights one could have, determined whether one was considered an equal human being or not. As Mandela grew older, he began to see the painful reality. Black people were treated as second-class citizens.
They were restricted, surveilled, controlled. They lived on their own land, but not truly free. Every day, every moment, they were reminded that their lives were considered less valuable.
Imagine living in a world like that, a world where your dreams are curtailed before you even have a chance to dream, a world where the law doesn't protect you. Instead, it oppresses you. Mandela couldn't turn a blind eye. The more he saw, the more his anger grew. But that anger didn't turn into hatred.
It turned into determination. He studied law. He believed that justice could be fought for. He believed that every human being had the right to live with dignity. But that struggle didn't come without consequences. The government began to see him as a threat. His speeches were monitored. His movements were monitored. His friends were arrested. Threats came from every direction. But Mandela kept going. The pressure intensified. The stronger his convictions became.
Then his life began to crumble bit by bit. He had to leave so much behind: time with family, the normal life, the chance to be a father who was always present. The struggle he chose began to demand great sacrifice. His children grew up without him. His family relationships were shaken. And every decision felt like a double-edged sword.
If he stopped fighting, he might be able to return to being a better father, be a more present husband. But if he stopped, millions would continue to live in oppression. The choice haunted him day after day, night after night. Then came the ultimate blow.
In 1962, Mandela was arrested. A few years later, the court handed down a life-changing sentence. Imprisonment, not for a few months, not for a few years, but decades. When the verdict was read, his future seemed to be slipping away. Imagine that feeling.
Knowing that the best years of your life will be spent behind bars. Knowing that your children will grow up without you. Knowing that perhaps you will never know freedom again. Mandela was sent to Robben Island. A harsh place, cruel, exhausting. Every day he worked breaking rocks.
Under the blazing sun, under intense surveillance, under a system that tried to break his spirit. But the physical suffering wasn't the hardest part. The most painful was the loneliness. Restricted letters, infrequent visits, bad news from family that arrived late.
He missed out on many important moments. He lost time he could never get back. Years passed, but something extraordinary happened. Prison failed to break him. On the contrary, prison shaped him, made him more patient, stronger, wiser. Meanwhile, the world began to take notice.
Nelson Mandela's name slowly became a symbol of resistance, a symbol of hope, a symbol that humans cannot be chained forever.
After nearly 3 decades in prison, an opportunity arose. The government offered a way out. Mandela could be released. But there were conditions. He would have to stop his struggle. He would have to surrender. For many, it was a tempting offer.
Who wouldn't want freedom after years of suffering? Who wouldn't want to be reunited with their families? But Mandela saw something bigger. His personal freedom meant nothing if his people remained unfree, so he refused. The decision shocked many, but it was precisely what changed everything. The world saw that his struggle wasn't about himself. It was about principle, about human dignity.
International pressure mounted. The South African government began to lose support. Change that once seemed impossible. Now it was approaching. And finally, in 1990, the prison doors opened. Mandela stepped out, not as a broken man, not as a man filled with hatred, but as a symbol of hope for millions.
The world waited. Many expected Mandela to seek revenge. They expected decades of anger to explode. But the opposite happened. He spoke of reconciliation, of unity, of a shared future. The choice wasn't easy. Forgiveness is often more difficult than revenge.
But Mandela understood one thing. Hatred only creates new chains. And those chains will bind everyone. Several years later, he was elected president of South Africa. A moment previously almost unimaginable. A former prisoner to the leader of a nation from a cramped prison cell to the world stage. The journey felt like a miracle. But behind that triumph, there was an unseen price. Lost years.
Unrepeatable family moments, emotional wounds that never fully healed. Success does not erase sacrifice. Success only gives meaning to that sacrifice, and perhaps that's the greatest lesson from Nelson Mandela's life. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is keeping going despite fear. Victory isn't never falling. Victory is standing up after being knocked down many times.
When Nelson Mandela died, the world didn't just lose a former president. The world lost a symbol of fortitude. A man who proved that one person can change history. Not because of his physical strength, not because of his wealth, but because of his convictions. Now, the question is for all of us. If you were in Mandela's shoes,
would you be willing to sacrifice decades of your life to fight for something you believed in? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to read your answers. And if this story inspires you,
don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because there are many more extraordinary stories about people who changed the world through courage, sacrifice, and fortitude. See you in the next story.